Friends, good evening. My name is Anil. I'm an alcoholic, and
Anil.
with the grace of God, Alcoholics Anonymous, my friend, fellowship, and my family, my wife, especially my daughters, all really have been supporting me. My sponsors, a lot of sponsors, my sponsor, they all have supported me to come to this point where I'll be celebrating. I'll be rather grateful alcoholic doing my gratitude day tomorrow. I'll be completing 27 years. And coincidentally, or maybe, I made it so I'll be turning 73 tomorrow as biological birthday. So it's a great evening for me. I had my last drink on 30th, and uh, when the secretary of the group came to me with the register to enter the new sobriety day, I I put it as 2nd of May. The next man sitting with me, he knew it that I had my last drunk on 30th. He said, "Why did you put it on 2nd May?" I said, "I know I'm going to change the sobriety date. 2nd May, I have put it because it is my biological birthday, which of course will not change. And maybe if God wants it, I'll celebrate the both birthdays together. And God has this plan. I'm thankful to God, thankful to Him that He didn't allow me to drink. I stayed sober since then, and one day at a time, I'm sober today, and hope with your support, with your wishes, and His grace, I'll not drink today and would definitely complete 27 years tomorrow. Thank you very much, Vinay. And really, I thank Mangalore Group for giving me a chance, especially on this evening. It's a great evening for me, and having a chance like this is an opportunity. It's a gift. It's a birthday gift. I personally thank Vinay and Rohit, Gurjeet also, because this is the first time I'll be sharing in English. Right from the beginning of my sobriety, I've been associated with the groups which were Punjabi speaking or maybe Hindi speaking. And incidentally, I've been associated with translating the big book into Punjabi. When I was hardly 3 years sober, I was asked by the group to translate and became the chairman of the Punjabi committee and translated the book into Punjabi way back in 99. Then very recently, God gave me the chance to translate the book into Hindi along with my other friends. So today is the first time I will be speaking other than in Hindi or Punjabi, and that I give credit to Vinay, Rohit, and Gurjeet. You have inspired me, you have prompted me, and I'm confident I'm going to do it. And if I say fumble, do accept that this is the first chance I'm doing so. So please, would like to be excused for any mistakes. I'll try to share my experience. Not only the step 5, since it's my gratitude day tomorrow, I would like to share the day I joined Alcoholics Anonymous, and I would take certain amount of time to share the other step preceding step 5 because I would emphasize why step 5 is the most vital amongst every step. Because I think without those fundamentals, I would never would have sobered. My journey started in 95. 95, I was thrown into I came here to, in fact, satisfy my wife. She was more curious that I stopped drinking than me. I never wanted to quit, though I was in a very bad shape. But I could never, in my wild dream, think that I would live without alcohol at any stage of my life. It was in December 95. I came to AA. I struggled very badly in initial days. I had a lot of problems. Any newcomer who comes into AA rooms have a lot of problems and a lot of questions also. And unfortunately, I still find it very difficult for the newcomer to get good responses in the early stage of our sobriety. When I went to the group, I attended meetings. I had a lot of questions. I had, besides the alcohol problem, extramarital relationship, financial problems, reputation problem, relationship problem. I had many problems which I wanted to, and a newcomer is always in a hurry to get the answers, to know the solutions. And the stock reply, which I used to get from the old timers, was keep coming back. And that was the only one solution I was getting for the 3 months I had been regularly attending the meetings. The literature secretary would definitely display the big book, the other literature in the middle of the meeting room, but that those books and literature was more for decorative purpose than for any other thing. The newcomers like me were even not allowed to touch those books. They say, abhi ruko, wait for some time. When you will be eligible to read these books, wait for some time. And I know how long we had to wait for it. I wasted many months. I had been coming since December, January, February, March, April. I didn't sober up. I couldn't sober up. I was struggling. I thought those people who were sitting before me, those people who came to this room before me, but maybe have different problems or maybe more intelligent. They could pick up the program, they could understand it. Maybe I'm dishonest. Maybe I don't pick up the program. Maybe my problems are different. But there was something different for me because I was not at all sobering up. And I thought I was the only person, or maybe two of us, who were struggling with alcohol, who were coming all right. They said, keep coming, and I kept on coming. The good thing is, God was with me, and it always pushed me to the rooms. Then I, in fact, one time thought of leaving Alcoholics Anonymous. I thought this is not going to work. If every second day I have to pick up a bottle and then a day before the meeting I would stay sober and then go to the meeting and claim and share that I'm sober today because it's one day at a time. So this was what was my routine. I was not satisfied. I was not satisfied at all. And I was planning to quit the program. But suddenly, in one of meeting, a person came and he did not share what I had been hearing for last 3-4 months. I had been hearing the drunkard lot. I had been hearing how people drank, how they fell, how they cheated their families, how they ruined their career, how they developed extramarital relation, and all that, And I had been doing the same thing much earlier also, for years together. I identified with them. I knew that I have the same problem with the fellow was sharing. But nobody shared what they did to get out of the mess. But this man, which came when I was coming for last 4 or 5 months, this man shared in complete, full Punjabi and shared not about his dental law. He shared about his recovery, how he recovered. He talked of the book. He talked of the test program. He talked of the sponsorship. He talked of those things which I had never heard before. He talked of those things which I was very eager to listen to. I was longing for it. Somebody tell me how to come out of the mess. And this was the man. He was 2 years sober, he said. And he was coming to meeting after 3-4 months. He had gone abroad and had come to the meeting after 3 months. After the meeting, I talked to that man. I told him that I'm here for some time. And it was very nice to hear him because I have never heard such thing in last 3-4 months. He smiled at me, he hugged me, patted me my back, and said, okay, we'll meet sometime. But that was all. That was all. I kept coming, kept on. Yes, I sobered up. Not sobered up, in fact. I stopped drinking. Sobering is a very huge word. I not use that I sobered up. I stopped drinking. Then in July 96, my daughter had appeared in an entrance test. She's a very brilliant artist. She's a very good fine artist. She was to take admission in MFA course. And she had appeared in the entrance test. A few days earlier, I went to the principal of the art college. He said that your daughter got to have a tuition from a professor, and for that you have to pay 25,000 rupees. And as a broken man, I didn't have money and I couldn't pay. But I was sure that my daughter is very brilliant and she'll get through. But when I opened the newspaper that particular day in July 96, her name was not in the selection list. It was a big jolt. It was a big setback to me. I became very angry. I became very fierce about that principal. I started abusing everybody. I didn't have money. And talking of honesty, these things, I said, it's all bullshit. Nothing works. This is a dishonest country. You've got to be dishonest with it. I was a dishonest person. I knew it, I'm a dishonest. I don't never minded accepting bribes. So I thought this was the right way. Suddenly, for the first time in my life, I realized that my anger, my resentments, they were gradually converting into the obsession to drink. I never knew that these are the basic roots. These are the basic causes of my drinking. I had always been blaming the chemical in the bottle, which has ruined my life, the alcohol. But first time, maybe because I had been listening into a, that the first time I realized that my anger, my resentment have converted into my obsession to drink. I wanted to drink. It was a very strong urge to drink. Thank God, the AA did certain good things in my life also. Initially, I was not keeping alcohol at my home. Had I had kept it, I would have definitely hit the bottle that time only in the morning. I did not drink. Because of AA and because of listening to the sharing of big people, I had been delivering a lot of sermons, long sermons to my wife, to my family, about the spirituality, about the God, and what this AA program can do it, So I was little scared to drink at my home. What would they feel of my spirituality and my long sermons to them? I thought I'll drink in anonymity by the evening. Let everybody sleep and I'll drink. And when in the evening, when I was getting ready to buy liquor from outside, there was a knock, and when I opened, the same person which I had listened, that man, he came in. I later on came to know that my wife has sent him a message. On those days, we did not have mobile phones. There was an instrument called pager. My wife had sent him a message on his pager, giving me the urgency at home. So he came. He has a small scooter with him, He came, and once I saw him, I was very upset. I was not happy at all because I had made up my mind to drink. And I knew when the AA members are around, they are not going to allow you to drink. That is what the AA members are expert in. They work like LIC agents. So I was upset that now this man is not going to allow me to drink. He sat down, we had a cup of tea, 2 cups of tea. I was getting bored, I was listening to him. He started appreciating AA, gratitude to AA, his sobriety and all that. Then I said, I would definitely disclose his name also, because he is not coming to a meetings. Harinder ji, I am not at all in agreement with you. I have a very bad experience of this. It's now 6 months. I'm not drinking for last 3 months, but it is not because I have got good inputs from A. It is just because of my ego that this man can do it. I'll also do it. There's nothing. Very, very good, some good learnings from A that made me sober. Nobody has answered my question. I had too many questions I've been asking for the last 6 months. And the only response I'm getting is keep coming back. And that's the only thing. That's the only lesson I have got. I was very angry at the group. He said, it's okay. You're going meetings, that's fine. You are sharing, listening to sharing, that's fine. But do you think it is adequate? Do you think you are on right track? Like I said, I only know this track. I don't know anything else. He said, do you have a book? Copy of the big book? I said, yes, I do have it. Somebody, some old timer gifted me when I completed 30 days. But nobody told me how to handle it. What is the use of the book? How would I read it? How can it be useful to me? He gave me. I kept it in the shelf. I just dust it off daily and then I don't open it because I do not know the importance of the book, the usefulness of the book. He said, okay, bring that book. I brought. And see, for the first time I heard, he opened the book and read a paragraph for me. He said, okay, listen to very carefully what I'm going to read. And what he said, it was, if when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking, you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably an alcoholic. He described the sickness, the illness in 2 lines from the book. And then he went on to share, he read it for me. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness, which only a spiritual experience will conquer. That is the one-liner which changed the whole thing. This man said, okay, fine. Meetings are good. Sharings are good. But have you ever tried to move on this line? Like I said, I never do it. For the first time, I am hearing these words from you. So far, in 6 months, I have not even seen anybody opening the book and talking to a newcomer on this. And he said, okay, wait. He opened our co-founder story and said that how he saw it. I said, I don't know. I only know his name. He's William Wilson. How he saw it up, I don't know. He had been co-founder of the group naturally. He would have thought of only then he opened the quiz. When he read from his story, he said in hospital, he surrendered himself to God. Unreservedly, he surrendered before God. There, he said, what he said, I humbly offered myself to God, as I then understood him. To do with me, he would. I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my newfound friend take them away root and branch. I have not had a drink since then. He said, he told me, the friend, that Bill says he did not drink after doing this. There were no meetings. There were no big book. He did this and then he said he didn't drink. How can you imagine that by going to meeting and listening to sharing and being resentful at the group, you can be sober? No, gentlemen, you are on wrong track. He said, what is the solution? There is a solution. Why? You are asking me, open the book and you will find a solution to it all. He said, what the book says. He read it for me. Almost none of us like the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of the shortcomings, which the process requires for its successful consummation. This is what is required of an AA member. Looking at your shortcomings, the exact nature of wrong, your mistakes, your defects, your shortcomings, admitting your faults, surrendering to God. Only then you can expect the results. You can expect the spirituality, which I read for you. Only then you can accept to be sober. The shortcuts do not work. And what you are doing are the shortcuts. Have you ever sponsored? I said, no, I never sponsored even. Nobody has offered me. Nobody has told me. Nobody even said that there is a pamphlet called on sponsor and sponsorship. Read it and find out what is sponsor. That is why I'm struggling. He offered to be my sponsor. See, the first time an A member offered me sponsorship, and I was really humbled. I hugged that man. I loved that man. And I requested him to be my sponsor. He already offered it. Then, without wasting any time, my friends, without gossiping, without telling me about the fellowshipping and all that, he put me to the book. He said, read these statements which I have read for you, understand them, understand the importance of the book, and let us now come to the business. He put me straight to page 58. He didn't mention his word. He said, rest of the part we'll do it afterward, but since you are already struggling and you are in 6 months of your sobriety, it's high time you stick to the book. He put me to ABC. ABC, he said, do you concede you are an alcoholic? I said, I had already done it. I conceded it 6 months back that I'm an alcoholic. I identified it. He said, okay, do you think your life is unmanageable? I know nothing about unmanageability means I go to office at 9. I take bath every day. I set my shape every day. I do wear good clothes. I don't think my life is unmanageable. He said, no, gentlemen. The unmanageability doesn't mean that you are going to office and you are wearing good clothes. Go, open page 52. Read what unmanageability is and then answer those 8 points. He made me understand about the unmanageability. He made me understand the powerlessness of alcohol. Put me to ABC concept and said, okay, if you are convinced, you have already done your 2 steps. Come on, let's go to the 3. First step was a wonderful experience. Gentlemen, I'm going to these things because later on, I want to emphasize why step 5 is more important than any other thing. I am talking of these steps because these are very vital, these are important, but they would be very weak if I don't read the step 5. That is why I take some time to share on these things, which already somebody must have shared on that. I'll be very brief in them. The first step, you ask me, you are an egoist. You want to dominate everything. He had been looking at my research, you are very, very dominating on your wife, you're dominating on your children. You want everything to follow you. You want your hukam to be bajayified every day and everybody should salute you and obey you. Because yes, I'm the owner of the house. They are required to do that. And in office, I'm a very senior officer and I want everybody to follow me. And that's the problem with you. You are playing God. You are playing God in others' life. He got me read, quit playing God. Really, practice this. Stop playing God in your life, in the life of others. Practice this. Third step, and then you will realize the importance of third step. And he said, are you religious? I said, yes, I'm very religious. I had been doing prayer 3 times in a day. I belong to a Punjabi family, believe in the Sikhism. I do Japji Sahib in the morning, do Rehra Sahib, do Sukhmani Sahib, do Rehra Sahib. I do Gayatri, I do Mahamrityunjay. I'm a very religious person. Then he said, and I said, yes, that is why I think being a religious man, and in A tells ki the connection with God, if you are connected with God, you are going to suffer up very early. But nothing is happening here. He said, gentlemen, your prayers, your praise of God is okay, but that will not work because you want to please God, but you are not obeying God. There is a difference between religion and spirituality. You are doing your rituals and you are not have even tried to walk on the spirituality. You are not able to even try to see within yourself, which means the basics of the spirituality. You are praising Nanak, you are praising Lord Krishna. You are only praising them, you are only praying them, but you are not following what they had said. You are a very dishonest person. You are a very prideful, you are an egoist person. Do Krishna, do Nanak tell you like that? No. Then why are you practicing? You are doing whatever Nanak says. You are contrary to what your religion is preaching. You are only doing rituals. And I was really, I accepted his fact. Yes, I was doing only rituals. I did not know my weaknesses. I did not know who am I. Then when he put me to third step, the experience was very good. But I realized that that spiritual experience was very temporary. It was only for a week, maybe 10 days, or maybe 15 days. I had to practice every day, but that was very fragile. The decision was good. But ultimately, when I read that this decision is good, but it's not going to be permanent. The blocks which are between me and my God are again going to come in between and make me again work like God. It was right. After 10 days, I again became God and doing the same old pattern, abusing my wife, controlling my children. The third step, the impact of the third step had evaded. It has vanished. My sponsor was very clever. He came in. He said, now is the time, move ahead, go to step 4. He made me know everything about the inventories. He read according to the big book. He made me understand about the 3 columns, about the resentment, about the fear, sex misconduct, financial inventories, and everything. He said, okay, fine, go ahead and write it. He said twice, be honest with yourself. Anil, be honest with yourself. Because these are the fundamentals. These are the fundamentals on which you are going to erect a building of your sobriety, of your spirituality. If you are little dishonest, then the whole thing would collapse. So, finish them, be honest, be fearless, write down a moral, the correct, the truth about yourself. I said, okay. I started writing my inventory. I really wanted to bring every dark side of my life into those inventories. It was a lifetime chance. I was waiting for it. But the stress of step 5, the idea that I got to admit whatever I'm writing, I have to share and admit with God, with myself, and with another human being. That was a very tricky thing. That idea of sharing with somebody else was taxing. That made me anxious. Admitting my fault was not a big thing. I had already, while writing my inventory, I had been admitting that I had done certain wrong things. I admitted my mistakes. I admitted that I had been very selfish. I had been very egoist. I had been dishonest. I admitted everything. I kept on writing in the columns. But every time when a point come, which was very horrifying, which was very shameful, because as an alcoholic, during my drinking days, I had done certain things which were not only immoral, they were really very horrifying and shameful. I even couldn't, in my wild ideas, wild thoughts, that Anil would go. I knew I was dishonest. I know I'm not a very good character, but I'll be that antisocial. I was that, I mean, kind of a man who could even assault a very, very close family member when the sex urge is so high, so strong. And in my under influence of liquor, I will do certain things which after waking, I try to forget everything. I would see that nobody could know what I had done in the darkness of the night. Those were the shameful things. Those were the things which made me guilty. I was very feeling guilty and they'd make me to drink more and more and more. When I was writing those things, and when the thought came that I got to share it with somebody else, that faltered my pen. My hand shivered. My hand was shaking. I didn't like the idea. I said I can admit, yes, I am admitting it. I can admit before God also. What is there? Admission before God would be very comfortable. Then what is the big idea of sharing with somebody else? With a person I do not know who he is. Maybe he's a good personality. People appreciate him. He is helping me as a sponsor. But how do you know that he's going to keep everything up to him, or he may not share with somebody else? Those were the secrets which I thought I would keep it to myself. I will never see that they see the daylight. They will die with my death only. Those were those shameful moments of my life. I had been very corrupt officer. I never wanted anybody to know. As an alcoholic, I knew I was an actor. I had put so many masks. I had a very ugly face. I knew it, I had a very ugly face. It was a corrupt. It was dishonest. It was a cheat. I was cheating my wife. I was cheating the other women also. I was cheating my department also. But I had put up such a mask that everybody said, Anil, you are a very gentleman. You are very honest. You are very polite. Nobody knew the Rakshas within me, That masks were all, those ugly faces were all camouflaged with the outer mask, which I wanted world to see, And how I can allow an unknown person to know the whole story of my life? Those moments which are very dark, those moments which are very ugly. How I can dare? How can I have the courage to share with somebody else? The stress of step 5 made me fearful than fearless. That made me dishonest instead of being honest. That made my inventory immoral, not moral, which the big book wanted. I purposely started hiding certain facts of my life, and I wrote inventories. Then, when the sponsor came, he was coming to my home. He said, okay, you done with your inventory? Sir, I'm done, and I knew it. I was thinking that I am going to share maximum part of my character with him. And if I hide certain things, that's not going to make any impact. That's not going to impact. After all, he's going to listen to me and tell me, yes, you had been selfish, you have been dishonest, all that, that's fine. Then where is the need to disclose everything to him? I will admit before God. I started rationalizing. They say, admit with God, with yourself, and with the third man, okay. 75% of the things I'll admit with the other person, and rest of it I'll admit with God and myself. I'm an actor, master in rationalization. I can rationalize my will as a God will, I can do everything. I'm so unpredictable. So I half-baked inventories. I took the register to him. He said, sit down. Before we start, yes, before you start sharing open the 6th chapter, where there is step 5 narratives. When he made me to, and the sponsors are very clever. The sponsors know the weakness of the, because they had been doing testing. I had been doing this, so I know what my sponsors can do. So he knew it. I didn't say anything, but he knew it because post school ka master tha. Then, he asked me to read it. He said, right, read. Why do we share our inventory? Sharing with other person is very difficult, especially discussing our defects with another person. This was the query which was alarming, which was alerting my mind. We think we have done well enough in admitting these things to ourselves. There is doubt about that. In actual practice, we usually find a solitary step appraisal insufficient. Why? Because the alcoholic is a master in justifying the things. I can rationalize everything. I can rationalize my dishonesty. I can rationalize my going to other women. I can rationalize taking bribes and putting blames on others. Why do I do things? Because my wife wants me to this. My daughters want this. They never ask me. But I'm master in blaming others and justifying my injustice. So alcoholic is an actor. He would do it. He can go to any extent to do it. So Bill knew it. That is why he said, we will be more reconciled to discussing ourselves with another person when we see good reason. What are the reasons? These were, when I read these sentences, my eyes were open. I felt ashamed. I felt so guilty about my action which I had been doing. If we skip this vital step, we may not overcome drinking. Time after time, newcomers have tried to keep to themselves certain facts about their lives. Trying to avoid this humbling experience, they turn to easier methods like which I was trying. I was trying to evade writing those horrifying moments which were troubling me for many years. I was trying to avoid those hard times, and he having preserved it the rest of the program, they wondered why they fell. We think the reason is that they never completed their house cleaning. House cleaning completion. Step 5 is one step which, if not done honestly, fearlessly, and humbly, would all negate my efforts in the step 4. Step 3, everything will be negated if I don't complete my house cleaning honestly, working these step 5. They were very hard on the journals, writing my inventory. But if I'm not honest, as the big book said, these were all fruitless. The result would be 0. I'll be standing nowhere. What they tell me, they only thought they had lost their egoism and fear. They only thought they have humbled themselves. Then they had not learned enough of the humility, fearlessness, and honesty in the sense we find it necessary until they told someone else all the life story. So this is where the step 5 comes in. Telling my story to another human being is the most important factor, the most important part of the step 5. So, gentlemen, when I read, he said, close this, and now let us do the work of my 5th step. But after reading these things, I became guilty. I was not able to see my sponsor eye to eye. I knew I had been dishonest. The stress of step 5, instead of making me more honest, had made me dishonest. What I have in my register, those were not the moral and the searching and the fearless inventory. Those were immoral. Those were immoral, not searching, and they were not the complete inventions. They were all false. Then I told my sponsor, he said, keep this register with you. I'm not here to read your inventory. These are the things for you. It's for your consumption. I don't want to read them. I do not even listen to them. This is your Kundali. You better read it and tell me what is the problem with you. I have come here to know your struggles, to know your problems, to know how you failed in life, to know how you became an alcoholic. I'm here to help you become a better person. I can help you through the program so that you can come back to the life again, overcome the drinking, overcome all your struggles. He was very supportive and said, okay, fine, sit down now, listen to me. He started sharing his own life with me. He was a very respectable man. Everybody respected him. He was a master of the big book. He was very good personality also, very calm, very soft spoken. But he started sharing how he failed, how he cheated his wife, how he cheated his friends, his business partner. He shared all dark sides of his life. You know, after listening to his story, all the dark things which he shared, that did not decrease his respect in my eyes. It was rather, his stature became higher. He became a bigger man. I was really appreciative, the courage, the honesty, the fearlessness, the humility with which he had shared his dark life, which at that point of time, I was lacking. I was dishonest. I was fearful. So I told him the truth. I told him that I wanted to hide certain things from him. But his sharing, his support has encouraged me to share with him my false pride, to share him my dishonesty. I asked him to give me some time, 2 or 3 more days, so that I can recook, remake, rewrite the inventories in true spirit, as the big book suggests, entirely ignoring the other person. I focused on my defects. I focused on my mistakes. What did I do to trigger the resentment? What did I do to trigger the fears? What did I do to be womanizer? To be a dishonest person, to be a dishonest husband, to be a dishonest father? Then, of course, the next column of the exact nature of my wrong. My sponsor said he will be more interested in knowing that, and he explained me what does the exact nature of wrong mean. I had been thinking that the exact nature of wrong would mean resentment is, of course, anger is my exact nature of wrong. Maybe going to other women is the exact nature of wrong. Maybe cheating others is the exact nature of wrong. He said, no, they are the results. They are the results of your certain action based on your will. Your will is the exact nature of wrong. You're being dishonest. You're being fearful. You're being egoist. You're being self-pitying, inconsiderate behavior. These are the things which provoke you to do certain wrong actions. Driven by 100 forms of fear, delusion, you do certain wrong thing. You hurt others. You hurt other people. You do wrong thing. You want to grab other people's rights. You want to cheat your spouse. Then, as a result, you get resentful. You get fearful. You go to other women. These are all your frustrations. These are all your frustrations. It's all because of the self-centeredness. So you have to look scarcely on the reason, the causes, pinpoint those things which are defined as self-centeredness. You have to demolish them. You have to demolish them. You have not to demolish the alcohol bottle. You can't do anything about the 3 columns which you had written in the inventory. You're more concerned, and his more concern would be on the last column, which you would identify yourself, which I help you to identify. And that is the exact nature of that is alcoholism. That is the sickness for which you need to know yourself. Unless you know your defects, you know your deficiencies, you know your shortcomings, you will never be able to rectify them. The step 5 is so vital that unless I do it, even reading it or sharing it won't help. I have to practically go through it, identify it in the last column. And my sponsor would help me that. And that is where, when I completed those things, I went again to the sponsor. He said, forget the book. Come along. Share your story. Start from childhood. And gentlemen, I started example. I started from childhood. How stubborn, how arrogant I was. How my parenting, wrong parenting of my parents, my mother was very fond of me. I was the youngest of the 5 siblings. And in our area, the youngest is taken to be very precious. And we were 5 siblings, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. But my mother said, he is a very precious child. She would do everything to fulfill my needs, Whatever I say, she would not waste any time to get it fulfilled. I remember she would sit for a whole night knitting a sweater for me, because I had said, Ma, next day I'll go to college only if I wear this kind of a sweater. I was under the impression that whatever I order, it will be done. It will be presented to me. That I would obey my order as my mother is doing it. I thought life would work on my terms. It never. I wanted to marry a girl. I fixed up a date. When she would be 18, I'll be 21. We'll run from the home if my parents don't agree, and we'll marry. We did the same thing. It flopped. It had to fail. Then my father I wanted to be an engineer. My father said he can't afford it. I became very resentful at my father. He got me admitted into another college, which had a better prospectus, which was a new technology. But instead of being thankful to him, I regretted and being resentful that this man has ruined my career. He didn't allow me to become an engineer. Though in later stage of my life, all those engineers were working under me. I became head of the department. Then I thanked my father that for his decision of not sending to me an engineering college. But that time, I was very resentful. My parents arranged a marriage for me, My present wife, I didn't like her. I didn't like her because she was not of my choice. I resented my mother, I resented my wife for a very long time, for 23 years, even in my sobriety out. That is why I developed extramarital relationship. I ruined not only my wife's life, I ruined the other woman's life out. I ruined my children's life out. I had 2 daughters. I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them also. I didn't give them time. I was busy, always busy, either in alcohol, drinking, or maybe in other women, or maybe earning money to meet expenses of my luxuries. I was sharing it with my sponsor without any pause, without any comma, without any fear. I was very honest. My sponsor was looking at me. And I did not hide even a single thing from him. And when I finished my story, it was already 3 hours. I continuously shared for 3 hours without any comma, without any even glass of water. The moment I ended, my sponsor was smiling at me. He hugged me. He patted me. He said, Anil, you have done it. I'm very sure you are on a journey. You will not drink now. You can sit down, hook up your register. But sir, I have nothing to share now. The registers are only would be a formality, but I have written everything which I have shared now. I don't have any fear. I don't have any fear of you, or you will share with somebody else. I don't have any fear. I don't have any reservation at all. And he listened to my register writings also. But most importantly, he was more concerned about the exact nature of my wrong. He said, this is alcoholism, Anil. But throughout your life now onwards, you have to work on these 5, 6 things. You are not to work on the whole, the lot you have written. They're all done. You have nothing to do with. You can't do anything with it. The only thing which you can do with is the last column, which identifies your exact nature of wrong. You have done it. Now you will work further when you move on the other steps. So, gentlemen, this was my experience on step 5. And the day I shared, since then, till date, I had been very honest. Those promises which people say, read about after step 9, I felt that all those promises start being fulfilled when I started completing my step 5. I became very serene. The word that you will comprehend the word serenity, 84 page, no. I comprehended serenity after sharing the step 5. I became peace with myself. I experienced nearness to God. I could see, I was very fearful of my wife, because not because she would be is a very, very hard woman. No, she's a very docile woman. I was feeling very guilty. I had tortured her throughout life. I've been very guilty. But after doing this, nothing stopped me. I sat with her, eye into her eye. I told, yes, Nirmal, I have been very hard with you. I've been very wild with you. I've been very dishonest with you. Please forgive me if you can. I promise. And I promise not, it's not a promise in a general way. It's a promise of the 5th step, that you will never have any complaint from me. And my friends, it was 26 years back. Until date, she has no complaint from me. I have become very good husband. My daughters say they want their husband like me. This is not any tribute to me. This is a tribute to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Had I been dishonest, had I hidden certain things from my sponsor, I would have never reached where I am. So the step 5 is the beginning of the spiritual journey. It's the strong, it's sound step 5, it's sound step 4, but definitely open a gate for a very sound spiritual journey, which after step 5, there's no stopping. Nobody, and I can vouch for that. I'll ask newcomers to pick up a good sponsor. That is very important. You have to identify a person with whom you have to share. There are persons who scare you, who would rather say, go, don't do, step 4 is cobra, step 4 is bichu, don't do it. They scare me too. And many newcomers get so scared that they don't even venture to go in for step 4, leave aside step 5. But this is nothing like this. Step 4 and 5 are very, very interesting. It is very interesting to know myself. It is very interesting to move on to spirituality. I'm a religious man, but today I'm a spiritual. This is spiritual, being spiritual and religious is sone pe suhaga. So I will request every young man, every newcomer to pick up the book, pick up a right sponsor, find out. When there were physical meeting, we could pick up the sponsor by the way he would sit, the way he behaved. But today, online meeting, it is little harder to identify a good sponsor. But we can read the pamphlet, we can listen to the sharing, we can find out how he shared, what is his view about the book, about the spirituality. Then pick up a good sponsor who knows it, who walks on the big book, who talks and walks on the book. Find a good sponsor. He would be a good support. He would prompt you to be honest in step 5. And once you do it, I'm very sure the obsession to drink is lifted. Not only that, the journey towards 11th step which is a permanent spirituality, would be very easy. Thank you, friends. I tried to share my experience on step 4 and 5 in my whole story. Hope I have done little justification to what I have to say, but there are still might be very many things which I would have left. Maybe the time, maybe my first chance of sharing in English, that could have been one reason, but that is all right. I've tried my best, and thank again Vinay and Rohit and Gurjeet for encouraging me to share in English. Thank you very much, friends. Thank you very much.